Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on Superman and Lois. And this will be my review and breakdown for Superman and Lois Season 1, Episode 5, titled Best of Smallville. And for those who don't know, this is actually the final episode of Superman and Lois until they go on a 2-month break, and Supergirl will be airing their first 7 episodes, I believe, starting from next week. And after that, Superman and Lois will return and they'll finish their season. And after Superman and Lois have finished their season, Supergirl will basically finish their remainder amount of episodes. I know it's pretty confusing, but for those who were there since like Supergirl season 3 days, is pretty much what they're doing for Legends of Tomorrow season 3 and Supergirl season 3, if you guys were there at that time. But for this episode was a very, very interesting episode. Once again, Superman and Lois just came in with another banger. We have a lot of Clark Kent flashbacks for this episode. We have more of that Morgan Edge mystery being developed, and it just deepens even more. It's so gripping. We get more Captain Luthor flashbacks as well. Yeah, that ending scene, we need to talk about that as well. But obviously, for those who haven't seen the episode, spoiler alert, because this is a review and breakdown after all, so I'll be going over some major spoilers which you certainly wouldn't want to hear from me. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, go watch the episode and come back later for this review and breakdown. And for those who are staying, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so this episode kicks off with such a cinematic feel. It was such great shots. The visuals in these shots were just great. It just kicks off with such a great opening scene. And we basically get like a bunch of different shots of Smallville. Now the kids are actually watching their father save the day on TV. Like they're looking at the TV and they're seeing Superman save the people all across the globe basically, which was pretty nice. Now Clark Kent then comes home as he's collecting crops while flying, and he basically talks about how this harvest festival is one of his favorite moments of the year and his favorite thing about Smallville. It was something that his mother, Martha Kent, used to do back in those days as well. Now during the episode, we also find out that Jonathan's girlfriend was supposed to come in for a visit as well, but let's just say that doesn't go too well. So we then have the kids at school, and Jordan and Jonathan meet with Sarah Cushing. They're basically like, a triple friend group now. Sarah basically asks Jordan if they want to go to this harvest festival together. And Jordan is in shock, and he freezes all of a sudden, and it seems like he's scared to give an answer. So Jonathan basically steps in and he basically speaks in behalf of his brother and pretty much accepts Sarah's request, which Sarah is happy and also Jordan is happy as well. Now Jonathan ends up getting a phone call and he gets dumped by his girlfriend, and this leads to Jonathan literally blowing up during this episode, which I was expecting when he would, because he's been able to contain so much throughout these past few episodes, and I was wondering when it will be when he will finally lose it, and obviously this episode was it. Now Lois Lane then gets a phone call from Chrissy Beppo, and she mentions that Sharon Powell is back along with her son Derek Powell. So this leads to Lois arriving at the Smallville Gazette and basically questions where Derek has been, in which he makes up some sort of a story which isn't convincing at all. Lois automatically notices that he's lying, and she knows that something is up because Sharon Powell asks Lois to drop this article which she was doing, because although she was about to be killed by the doings of Morgan Edge, her son is back and that's all she cares about. But the lack of evidence leads to Lois basically not pushing it too far, and she just lets them go, in which Chrissy Beppo is wondering why she did that. But Lois does know that something is up. She does tell Chrissy Beppo that she knows that they are lying and there's something much deeper in there. And as I said before, this Lois Lane storyline is so good. I absolutely love it. But Captain Luthor is actually watching Lois do her thing, and he basically has this plan that Superman is around Lois Lane. So if he keeps watching Lois, Superman will eventually show up. but by the end of the episode we find out that there is just more to why he's just paying a visit to Lois Lane. Now we are in some sort of gathering where Lana Lang is gathering the goods for the Harvest Festival, and we have Sharon Powell and Derek Powell given a couple of bits, and they given male clothing, I think it was, in which Lana mentioned that they don't give away much male clothing, so this donation was a great thing. But Derek is feeling off, and this leads to him calling Les Lar and mentions that he's having issues. And this leads to Derek blowing up, and he just releases heat vision all across the area, resulting into the building going on fire. Now throughout the episodes we start to get these flashbacks with Clark Kent and Martha Kent, and we get this flashback to Clark getting ready for the Harvest Festival, and Lana will be there. Martha mentions that, and Lana Lang was obviously Clark's girlfriend at that time, so Clark needs to dress well to impress her. And Clark basically ends up hearing this crime, and he heads to the location, which I wasn't expecting at all. But Clark actually masks up and he confronts the robbers, in which they aren't afraid because it's a kid. What's a kid doing confronting a bunch of robbers? In which Clark then shows off his powers and scares off the robbers, because we have the robbers shooting at Clark, and he's able to dodge the bullet. He breaks one of the guns. It was so cool to see, and it shows he has that inner Superman within him, which was so good to see. And this was him as a child, so it always showed that he had this motivation to do good, which is something I really liked. But Kyle Cushing and the firefighters come for the rescue due to Derek's heat vision, and everyone is being escorted out of the building. Now Kyle goes back into the building to save his friend who was left behind, and Clark also ends up going over there as well to see what's up and to see if he could actually help people. And through his X-ray vision he notices that Kyle and his friend will be in a lot of trouble. So he basically goes inside and he uses his frost breath to freeze the fire. Now Kyle realizes that something is up, because a fire cannot just stop all of a sudden, in which he ends up touching the burnt wood and he feels snow. So are they setting up over here that Kyle will begin to put the pieces together and he realizes that Clark is Superman or something? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm very interested to see where this goes. Now Clark then talks to Lois about the fire that took place, and he mentioned that Sharon was there but the sun wasn't, in which Lois wants to investigate this a lot deeper to see what's up. Now this is when Jordan and Jonathan arrive home. Jonathan is not having a great day. As I said before, he got dumped by his girlfriend, and Lois tries to cheer him up, but he's just not feeling it. Now Lois Lane then goes to the burning scene to investigate what happened, and she goes up to Kyle and basically she shows this photograph of this missing boy who is Derek, and Kyle basically gives Lois all the details and mentions that Derek Powell was there at first, but after the fire he wasn't there, he was gone. This investigation storyline, as I said before, it's something I really like, and I cannot wait to see where this goes. Now Captain Luthor then shows up and he introduces himself as another name which I cannot remember. But Captain Luthor says that he's also a reporter, and he does have some mechanical engineering skills as well. And obviously he is a reporter, I'm guessing, from his world, while also being an army general and stuff. But he talks to Lois Lane like he almost knew her, he was so confident in front of her. So I was very interested to see what was going on, though it seemed like he was being just, friendly so he could get closer to Lois and he could, just find Superman easily. That's what I thought it was, not what I ended up seeing towards the end. So Captain Luthor then ends up talking about Superman and how they could basically write about him, in which Lois ends up denying his request, and Luthor basically gives Lois his card just in case she needs help. Then she could obviously call him. But we then have Chrissy Beppo in Smallville Gazette, and she questions Sharon in regards to what is going on, and she asks Sharon for her phone so she could basically look for the whereabouts of Derek, and she could see the message where he could have gone. Now Jordan basically asks Clark if he could leave early for his date with Sarah, which was planned earlier. Jonathan is really not having a great day. He's having a very bad day. He mentions that he wants to leave Smallville because he's unable to do the things he was once able to do in Metropolis. Like, he's unable to play football, his girlfriend dumped him, and basically Smallville's feeling like his kryptonite to him. And we get these great parallels with the Clark Kent flashbacks, where he argues with Martha Kent in regards to him being a superhero, and Martha doesn't want that. Martha mentions that Clark was sent to Earth for a purpose, and he needs to find out what it is. And Clark basically mentions, well, that purpose isn't to be Martha Kent's son, which I thought was quite cold. But in present day, we basically have Clark reminiscing of these flashbacks and how basically he uses that to handle Jonathan throughout the episode, which I thought was a really great addition. Now, Leslie Lar, or Lesla Lar, whatever you want to call her, meets with Derek, in which we find out that they are together, which was very interesting. And she's trying to comfort Derek from what happened earlier, and she's basically trying to fix him up due to him getting powers, presumably by being exposed to Kryptonite or something like that. But Chrissy Beppo follows after them, and I honestly thought something was going to happen with her. I wasn't expecting her to get away with it, but she did. So yeah, that was quite badass, I guess. But Clark then goes to his old room, which is now for the kids, and he remembers the time where Martha tells Clark that it is his time to basically live his life and to forge his own path so he could move on and live his life. And Martha basically gives Clark this box, in which inside it is this red crystal, which is used to activate Jor-El in the Fortress of Solitude, which obviously came from Clark's ship when he first landed on Earth. Now, in the festival, we have Sarah and Jordan meet, and they're basically having a really great day together, and I thought this was going to go well as well. I really like the similarities between these two characters. I like the chemistry between them as well. But Sarah is about to open up even more with her struggles and stuff to Jordan, but that is ruined when drunk Jonathan ruins it, and basically he embarrasses them both. And how this ended up being Jordan's first day ever, and Jordan's just embarrassed over it, and Sarah is just disgusted that Jonathan and these other two boys have nothing better to do than to get drunk and stuff like that. So Sarah does confront them like that, but Jonathan is feeling guilty after with what he has done. Jordan forgives him easily. I really like that. They could have easily stretched it out and made this whole beef with the brothers, but they forgave each other pretty quickly, which I like. I really like this relationship between these two brothers. But we have Clark and Lois catch Jonathan being drunk. Yeah, let's just say they are in big trouble. But as that is happening, Chrissy Beppo watches Les Lar and Derek do their experiment in this experimentation chamber, wherever it is. Is it owned by Morgan Edge? Who knows? But Derek is placed in some sort of chamber, and Lester basically activates this machine, and then it does something to Derek, and he just comes out and just feels a lot better. Now Lois and Clark are at the Harvest Festival, and Lois ends up getting a call from Chrissy Beppo telling her that she followed Leslie and Derek to some experimentation lab. And obviously that is very sketchy, so Clark Kent then suits up as Superman and heads to the location. Now Superman goes after Derek after finding out that he has powers, and then we end up getting this cool flight sequence where Derek basically flies everywhere and uses heat vision to burn the areas. Meanwhile, we have Clark using frost breath to basically freeze the structures, preventing them from burning even more. But this is when Captain Luthor ends up getting this alert from his caravan, and he follows after Clark and Derek after he catches up with them. Now Captain Luthor parks somewhere, in which he grabs this reverse engineered rocket launcher basically, which I'm guessing was supposed to help him take down Superman, but when he sees these two people flying around, he just wants to take them both down, in which he's successful. He brings them both down. Now Superman then ends up confronting Derek, and Derek says that he's already dead, and he basically burns himself from the inside while using heat vision while closing his eyes. Now, is Morgan Edge actually grabbing dead people and basically reviving them while using Kryptonite and then giving them super strength like that? I don't know, but I'm very interested to see what is happening with this story because it's so interesting. But Captain Luthor then heads to the crash site, but he finds them both gone, and he's very frustrated about this. Now, when we head home, Clark seems to be more understanding of Jonathan's situation after him recalling the flashbacks which he had with his mother and him having his own struggles. He forgives the kids and basically asks Jonathan to give Smallville another chance. If not, then they'll try and work something out. Now, in the next day, we have Lana basically mentioning to Lois and Clark that Morgan Edge paid for the repairs of the burning building. He's basically trying to look like a good person to the eyes of Smallville, and I'm very interested to see how Lois Lane will end up exposing Morgan Edge. I would just love to see the look on Lana and Kyle's face after they find out that Morgan Edge has been this bad guy all along. But then Lana ends up giving this speech in public to honor Martha Kent and the things she has done for Smallville, and she basically makes the bench the Martha Kent bench because that's where she used to sit all the time. But then we end up getting this flashback where Clark is leaving Smallville and basically he's regretting the way he left. That's what he tells Lois at the end. He regretted the way he said goodbye to his mother. Basically Lex sees Clark and Lois together on the bench and he's very angry for some reason. I'm like, hold on a second, does he know that Clark is Superman or something? But then we end up getting a flashback to his world once again, where we see him and Lois are together and they basically kiss each other. And then that made sense. That is why Captain Luthor was, so attached with Lois Lane at the start, because they had the thing from their Earth, which was very interesting. And I'm very excited to see how Captain Luthor will handle this version of Lois Lane being with somebody else. Now, Sarah Cushing and Jordan are able to sort things out as well, and they become friends again, but that's it. They do not push it beyond like before. Now, this episode ends with Jordan getting jumped by Tag, who seems to have like a test subject gear on or something. He has a totally different gear on. But is this Samuel Lane's doing with the 7734 project, or is this Morgan Edge's doing? I'm very interested to see what is going on over here. Overall, once again, a phenomenal episode. I really enjoyed this episode. Not just the whole episode in general, but the Clark Kent flashbacks as well as more of that Captain Luthor story in general. It's so interesting, and as I said, the thing I'm most intrigued about is this Lois Lane and Morgan Edge storyline. It's so cool to see, and I cannot wait for more episodes, but it's sad to see Superman and Lois go away for 2 months. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought about this episode. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.